Hello and happy Sunday, all you Ultimate Coach fam peeps. What are you up to today? What are you doing? I am chilling, watching the cloudy skies roll through here in St. Petersburg, Florida, watching some rain over the water as it comes through. I wanted to share a really fun conversation I had this week. Won't be a long one today, I don't think, but I wanted to share about a conversation with one of my clients and what came about from a shift in her being. And to me, it's a testament of how powerful it is to work at the level of being, how profound this work can be. And at the same time, also how practical, right? I think a lot of times there can be this idea that, being is this conceptual, ethereal, highfalutin idea. And the conversation this week with one of my clients really helped bring it home as something that can dramatically impact quality of life. So this individual, hey Johnny, this individual that I've been working with now for about 3 months is on the leadership team of one of my clients. She's actually the head of customer service, runs customer service for the whole company, and started working with her back in December. Wonderful, powerful woman, very, very intelligent, and yet all of the power and intelligence and determination that she had seemed to be having to fight through a lot just to show up, just to, I'll say, get through the day. And that sounds a little more dramatic than it is, but this story to me is an example of how you never really know what's going on in somebody's mind, what they're dealing with or moving through to show up the way that you see them showing up, the way you perceive them showing up. Most people would have just taken it as a fact that, well, she must be confident and she must be certain and she must be, comfortable in her skin. Well, she's an executive. She's risen to the top rank of this company. And nothing could be further from the truth, right? This individual, and for those of you just joining, I'm sharing about a story that came out this week about one of my clients and one of the transformations they've experienced from looking deeply at who they're being and working at the level of being, and the dichotomy sometimes of how we perceive people. We think everything must be going a certain way for them, and often it's not. So here's somebody who, arguably at the top of her game, the near pinnacle of her career, and yet there was so much internal struggle, strife, effort that was required for her to show up for her team in meetings with the CEO, and specifically as part of the leadership team, right? She sat on the leadership team, all the departments head of sales, head of customer care, head of design, etc. They all get together. And she shared very openly with me how she wrestled with her sense of worth and a feeling of fraudulence being part of this executive team. I don't belong here. I don't deserve to be here. And this isn't about telling somebody they do or telling somebody they need to think differently. This is about looking at the being, helping them distinguish the being that has that experience. You're in a room, you have a title, you have a salary, you're part of this executive leadership team, and yet the being shows up to an event on its calendar and says, I don't belong here. Right? I fought to get here. I worked my ass off to get here, and now I'm here. I don't belong here. That's That's unfortunate and unnecessary, but certainly unfortunate. So here's the punchline. This will be a short one today. As we were connecting this week and just talking about what's going on for her, what has shifted, what does she see differently, what is she experiencing differently in her work, she shared that were two simple phrases that she was able to express in this meeting on a regular basis that truly for her entire life she hadn't been able to utter. She would have the thought, but she couldn't share the expression. And the two phrases that she was unable to speak, she would think them but not speak them, were I don't understand and I don't agree. Right? Two very simple, basic human statements, right? A lot of my days I go through and say, I don't understand what you're saying. Could you explain it? And I don't agree with that. And yet she would have these thoughts and not be able to speak the words to share that because there was so much doubt and uncertainty and anxiety about what would that mean for her to say those things. She would have the thought, I don't know what they're talking about. She'd want to say, hey, excuse me, I'm not sure I understand. Wouldn't say it, would hold that back, and then somebody else in the room would say, I don't understand. Could you explain that? And that brought about even more shame for her. Man, why can't I just say it? So when we got together this week, the most beautiful, I was going to say glorious, glamorous, I don't know if those are the right words, but certainly the most gratifying part of our work together was how she shared this week. I show up to these meetings, and when I have the thought, I don't understand, I speak the words, I don't understand. When I have the thought, I don't agree, I speak the phrase, I don't agree. And what happens with that happens with that. Imagine the amount of freedom there, right? To be self-expressed like that, even in something as simple as I don't agree, I don't understand. Not I don't agree to make somebody else wrong, but to voice your opinion because you're a member of the leadership team. Not I don't understand as a frustration or a blaming of somebody else's ability to explain, but simply being able to speak the phrase, I don't understand, I'd like more information. Right? It's so simple, it's so practical. And yet, so many, particularly those folks in positions of authority, don't believe they have the ability to express themselves like that. So what do instead? They hide it. They pretend they know. They secretly do research on their own and probably are not very tolerant of others having those thoughts. I believe that anytime there's a disconnect between how our being wants to express itself and our ability, the being's ability to express itself, anytime there's a disconnect there, that causes problems, it causes pain, it causes shame, blame, embarrassment, frustration. Right? It's the definition of not being fully expressed. And this applies everywhere. It's not just I don't understand, I don't agree. It's I'm angry or I'm frustrated, not even be able to be that which we are experiencing. Anytime there's a disconnect between our inner experience and what we can convey into the outer reality, anytime we're trying to manage that directly impacts our quality of life. And that is something that this notion of being can correct for, right? Who am I being that I can't say the thought in my head for fear of what that's going to mean? Who am I being that I can't express the desire for more information because, well, my being says I can think it, but I can't do it? And who would I need to be such that my thoughts were allowed to be in alignment with my actions? How much peace and freedom and connection would come from that state? That's all we want, right? People talk about peace. I love the word equanimity, right? how much equanimity we would experience simply being able to have a thought and share that thought without fear or concern or doubt or shame or guilt or blame. And how much more loving could we be with others if we could allow them to speak whatever thought was in their head. They could say, I hate this guy who's in the White House or who was in the White House, and we could say, I hear you. That would be okay for them to experience that thought, speak that thought. It didn't mean anything about us. That'd be a pretty cool way to live. We could have the thoughts in our head and speak whatever we wanted without a fear of it's gonna hurt somebody or upset somebody. So that's what I got to share this Sunday. What are you not allowing? What is your being not allowing you to express outside of you that exists inside of you? What are you suppressing? What are you hiding? What are you afraid, ashamed somebody will know? What are you worried about what the world's going to do to you when they find out what's really going on and we spend all this energy to package it up? That space between what's here and what we put out in the world, the delta between that space is where all the opportunity for creating peace and freedom and connection exists, at least in my mind. Have an amazing Sunday.